What happens when one of your team's most promising players doesn't step on the court during the most important games of the season? The silence from the bench can speak louder than any slam dunk. Behind-the-scenes technical decisions may reveal more about a franchise's future than any official press conference. The Golden State Warriors continue their playoff journey, winning the first game against the Houston Rockets 95-85 in a defensive battle that puts the team in a favorable position in the series. Solid defense and experience in decisive moments gave the Warriors the initial advantage, something that could be enhanced with a complete roster. But a notable absence hangs over the team like a silent shadow that grows with each game. Jonathan Kuminga, one of the Warriors' most explosive talents, remains seated on the bench, watching his teammates fight for another chance at glory. The story begins in the final game of the regular season against the Los Angeles Clippers, when coach Steve Kerr made a controversial decision to leave Kuminga out of the rotation. The choice surprised analysts and fans who had been following the young forward's steady growth throughout the season. Since then, the young wing hasn't stepped on the court in the following 2 games, and it doesn't seem like that will change anytime soon. As cameras capture images of him on the bench, his body language oscillates between contained frustration and forced support for his teammates. This decision marks a tense chapter in the trajectory of a player who was once seen as a fundamental piece in the future of the franchise that built a dynasty in the last decade. The Bay Area, which witnessed the rise of one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history, now carefully observes signs of a possible rebuild, or, at the very least, a significant reshaping of the roster that dominated the league for years. The Kuminga case seems to be just the tip of the iceberg of deeper structural changes. If you're enjoying this content and want more in-depth analysis about NBA behind the scenes, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. We are the first source to bring you the hottest news from the basketball world, directly from the courts to your screen. Each subscription helps us continue to bring this exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. Shall we continue? Before being relegated to the bench, Kuminga had been maintaining an average of 9.4 points in his last 5 games. These aren't spectacular numbers, but they're revealing considering his limited time on the court and the Warriors' offensive system, traditionally centered on their veterans. The numbers clearly reflect how his role changed significantly after Jimmy Butler's arrival to the roster, creating congestion in the rotation and forcing tactical adjustments that ended up marginalizing the young talent. The team chemistry, always celebrated as a Warriors differential, seems to be tested behind the scenes. When questioned about the situation after practice, with journalists eager for an explanation for the player's absence in decisive moments, Kerr sent a clear message to the young player. Jonathan has been fantastic. His attitude, his energy on the bench, cheering for his teammates, staying ready. He's a great young guy, Kerr said on the Willard and Dibbs program, in a tone that mixed praise with a subtle demand. This has been tough on him, but he's doing exactly what he should be doing, which is staying ready. Kerr's body language during the interview revealed some discomfort, as if he himself wasn't fully convinced of the situation. The coach, known for his honesty and direct approach with players, seemed to be navigating delicate territory between the immediate needs of the team and the development of a young talent. Kerr further added, "I've told him, and our coaches have told him, that things can change in the blink of an eye in the NBA. He has to be ready for when his time comes, and that's exactly what he's doing. I would be surprised if at some point his time doesn't come." The words sound like fatherly advice, but also like possible preparation for an imminent change. Between the lines of these public statements, it's possible to perceive the tension between official discourse and practical reality. The NBA is a business, and difficult decisions need to be constantly made, balancing immediate ambitions with long-term planning. Kuminga's case perfectly exemplifies this dilemma. But what's really happening behind the scenes in this situation? Chase Center, the modern arena that symbolizes the Warriors' golden era, hides tense conversations and silent negotiations that could redefine the franchise's future. Sources close to the organization suggest that the relationship between Kuminga and the Warriors' coaching staff has been silently deteriorating over the months. Moments of tactical disagreement, divergent expectations about his role, and the natural frustration of a young talent seeking affirmation would have contributed to the distancing. The player's frustration grew with his reduced role, especially considering his athletic potential and how much he has progressed since being selected as the 7th overall pick in the 2021 draft. His flashes of brilliance on the court, spectacular dunks, intense defense, moments of athletic dominance, contrast with his current position on the bench, creating a paradox difficult to explain to fans and analysts. In private conversations in the locker room, teammates would have shown support for the young player, recognizing his value and potential. Veterans like Draymond Green, always vocal about internal issues, would have advised patience, sharing their own experiences of ups and downs in the league. But patience has its limits in the accelerated world of the NBA, especially when it comes to a developing talent that needs minutes on the court to evolve. The Warriors' current moment represents a crossroads for the franchise that dominated the previous decade. On one side, we have the old guard led by Stephen Curry, still showing flashes of brilliance and trying to extend the team's competitive window for a few more seasons. Curry, at 36, continues to be one of the best shooters in history, but the biological clock doesn't stop. On the other side, the future personified in young talents like Kuminga, who seek more space and responsibility on a team historically dominated by established veterans. Management needs to decide. Bet on the veterans for another title run or start the transition to a new era. Bob Myers, the former general manager who architected the dynasty, once said that the biggest challenge for winning teams is knowing when to turn the page. His successor now faces exactly that dilemma, with Kuminga possibly being the first chapter of this new narrative. Now, speculation about Kuminga's future is gaining strength in NBA circles and among league insiders. The Bleacher Report website brought an intriguing suggestion that has been circulating in conversations among executives. The Warriors would send Kuminga via sign and trade, and Moses Moody to the Portland Trail Blazers in exchange for guard Anfernee Simons. The proposal has gained traction on social media and specialized podcasts, being seen as a realistic possibility that would serve the interests of both parties. Simons, at 25, averaged 19.3 points and 4.8 assists per game this season, hitting 36.3% of his three-point attempts. Solid numbers that demonstrate his capacity for consistent offensive production on a team without major aspirations. It would be a strategic acquisition for Golden State, bringing in a younger guard who could eventually take on more responsibilities as Curry ages, while immediately contributing as a reliable offensive weapon coming off the bench or even in the starting lineup. Simons' perimeter accuracy would perfectly match the Warriors' offensive philosophy, known for constant ball movement and valuing the three-point shot. His youth would also provide a less traumatic generational transition, creating a bridge between the current era and the future. From Portland's side, the move makes sense on multiple levels. With a backcourt already crowded with Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe, two young prospects who need time and space to develop, trading Simons for a versatile talent like Kuminga would better balance the roster, adding athleticism and defensive versatility to a team in rebuilding mode. Kuminga would fit into the Blazers' development timeline, growing alongside the team's young core. Adding Moody to the package would be a big win for the Trailblazers, transforming the deal into something even more attractive for the Northwestern franchise. The 22-year-old player hit an impressive 39.4% of his three-point attempts this season and has an extremely favorable three-year, $37.5 million contract. This type of efficient contract is a treasure in today's NBA, where salary cap management has become as important as on-court talent. For Portland's executives, the opportunity to add two young players with potential in exchange for a single player represents an excellent return on investment. The mathematics of rebuilding favors, accumulating assets, and betting on the simultaneous development of multiple talents, increasing the chances of finding key pieces for the future. What would this trade mean for those involved beyond numbers and tactical aspects? For the Warriors, it would represent a philosophical change deeper than it might appear at first glance. trading an athletic and explosive player for a shooter with more perimeter range suggests a return to the origins of the style that led them to 4 titles. Warriors basketball was always more about spacing, movement, and shooting than physical dominance. Simons would represent a return to that identity. The trade would also symbolize a silent admission that the experiment with Kuminga didn't work as planned. Every draft pick carries expectations, and recognizing when to adjust course is a fundamental part of efficient management. For a franchise accustomed to success, this type of decision is particularly difficult, but necessary to maintain competitiveness. For Portland, it would be a chance to add young potential while rebuilding their roster after the end of the Damian Lillard era. The franchise that for years bet on stability and continuity now navigates the turbulent waters of reconstruction, seeking talents that can form the core of the next competitive iteration of the Blazers. Kuminga and Moody would represent significant pieces in this puzzle. For Kuminga, perhaps the protagonist most affected in this story, a fresh start could be exactly what he needs to unlock his full potential. In Portland, away from the crushing expectations of a winning franchise, he would have the freedom to develop his game without the immediate pressure of competing for a title. His athleticism and finishing ability would be valuable weapons for a young, growing team. And the opportunity to make mistakes and learn from them would be vital for his evolution. A change of scenery frequently catalyzes the development of young players. NBA history is full of examples of talents that flourished after being traded. Kuminga could follow this path, transforming his current frustration into fuel to prove his worth in a new environment. Statistically, the trade could benefit both teams in measurable and immediate ways. The Warriors would gain offensive spacing and another creation option, elevating their already efficient attack to a new level. Simon's true shooting percentage, 56.8%, and his ability to create for himself would perfectly complement Kerr's system. Meanwhile, the Blazers would add defensive versatility and development potential, significantly improving their front court. Kuminga, with his 7-foot wingspan and elite athleticism, could transform the Blazers' defense, currently one of the worst in the league. His ability to defend multiple positions would be instrumental for a young team learning to compete. Moody, in turn, would add much-needed offensive spacing with his consistent shooting. The immediate impact might seem greater for Golden State, considering their current competitive window and the need to maximize the final years of Curry's career. But the long-term value could significantly lean toward Portland. If Kuminga reaches his ceiling as a player, the Blazers could have found a fundamental piece for their next decade. Analysts and scouts diverge on Kuminga's ceiling. Some see in him a potential all-star with the capacity to impact the game on both sides of the court, while others question his understanding of the game and ability to read situations. What no one questions is his transcendental athleticism and unique physical capabilities. Remember that this analysis deserves all your attention. If you're enjoying it, leave your like and share with other basketball fans who also follow every movement in the market. Your support is what allows us to continue bringing exclusive content and in-depth analyses like this. And don't forget to hit the bell to be notified whenever we release a new video about the latest movements in the league. While rumors circulate, the Warriors continue their playoff campaign, seeking another title to cement their legacy as one of the greatest dynasties in history. Kuminga's silent presence on the bench continues to be a visual reminder that, even in moments of success, the future is always knocking at the door. The coming weeks will be decisive not only for the playoffs, but for the future direction of the franchise. Executives are certainly actively evaluating all options, weighing pros and cons, projecting scenarios, and considering the best path forward. The NBA off-season market promises to be busy, with several teams seeking significant reformulations. For the Warriors, who built their empire through intelligent and sometimes bold decisions, this may be the moment for another visionary move. The franchise's history under current ownership demonstrates a willingness to make risky moves when necessary, always with the goal of maximizing their competitive chances. And now, the big question that all NBA fans and analysts are asking: Will Kuminga remain in Golden State? Or are we just waiting for the official announcement of his departure? The situation increasingly seems to be moving not towards an if, but a where he will be traded. The signs are present for those who know how to interpret them. The lack of minutes in crucial games, the carefully crafted statements from the coaching staff, the growing buzz among league insiders. The NBA, like any professional league, is driven by relationships, opportunities, and timing. The moment for a negotiation involving Kuminga seems to be approaching, with the off-season transfer window offering the perfect opportunity for all parties to move forward. The question is no longer if there will be a separation, but when and how it will occur. And you, what do you think about this possible trade? Would Anthony Simons be the missing piece to rejuvenate the Warriors' core and give Stephen Curry another real shot at a title before the end of his legendary career? Or will Kuminga end up becoming a star on another team, making Golden State regret the decision, as has happened with so many other franchises that gave up too early on young talents? Leave your opinion in the comments below, and let's continue this debate, and stay tuned. In our next video, we'll explore a possible trade scenario that could completely transform the Warriors' future. A bold move that could bring experience and immediate impact, but at what cost? Is it worth giving up on developing young talents in exchange for a more concrete chance at a title now? A deep, strategic, and exclusive analysis that you'll only find here on our channel. Don't miss it.